Never Seen It podcast, the only podcast called Never Seen It that's worth listening to. With us tonight, Mr. Arnie, the one-man party, is here with us tonight, a.k.a. Arnold Callego, Mr. Daily Dares, a.k.a. Filipino Grigio, a.k.a. Alex Callego, the brothers Callego, Mr. Ghost Nerd 88, a.k.a. Justin Holden, and there's Mr. Milkman America, reporting to us from our Seattle branch, a.k.a. Chris is here tonight. And then there's me, Boots Too Big, a.k.a. Adrian De La Torre. And tonight we have a special guest. She's a film enthusiast who's written and directed one short film and won first place at her university. Her favorite thing in the world is good storytelling, and her favorite directors include Guillermo del Toro, Greta Gerwig, and Baz Luhrmann. Please welcome to the show, Miss Haley Stoddard. Welcome, Haley.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, and we thank you for being with us tonight. And the film we're discussing tonight is 2012 Spring Breakers.
Spring break.
Y'all want to die tonight?
Spring break.
Get down!
You're scared, aren't you?
Spring break forever.
Directed by Harmony Korine, starring James Franco, Selena Gomez, Vanessa Hudgens, Ashley Benson, Rachel Ann Simon, Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane's in this. Never thought I would see a movie with Gucci Mane, if I'm being perfectly honest. After four college girls rob a restaurant to fund their spring break in Florida, they get entangled with a weird dude with his own criminal agenda.
I have a fun fact about Gucci Mane about this movie.
Hit me with it.
So,
Hit me with it.
Harmony Korine was writing this film, and he wanted to have Gucci Mane in it, but he was in jail at the time. And so what happened was they got in contact, and he was like, "Hey, I have a role for you. Be good in jail. You can get out early, and you have this role specifically for you." And so he did, and Harmony Korine gave him the role, and that's how he got
the rest is
history.
I feel like I wrote a screenplay about this, a guy in prison who wants to make a movie.
Well, isn't that the reverse version of JCVD?
That's true. Yeah, available now. But I gotta say really quick, Harmony Korine. I've only ever seen Kids, and for those of you that haven't seen Kids or don't know anything about it, it's a really fucked up movie, but it's an important movie to watch, I believe. It follows the day in the life of some sort of ne'er-do-well teenagers in New York City, just kind of living that hedonistic lifestyle, doing drugs, having all kinds of casual sex and whatnot. And I didn't like it at the time because it made me feel just really weird and bad. And I was like, what is this? But now that I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate that movie. And Alex, I know you bought Gummo on DVD recently, right?
Yes,
so
I still haven't watched it yet. I tried to find it somewhere online so I could watch it before we talked about this movie, but because of the cult classic status, it's just hard to find. I even went on Reddit, like how we found Train Spotting on Reddit. I mean,
right?
We
bought it.
We bought it on Reddit.
We all purchased in bulk. We purchased in bulk.
Yeah. But yeah,
I Amazoned it to you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah.
I don't know. There's a Gummo. Gummo?
Yeah, it's called Gummo.
Gummo was his debut, directorial debut.
And I had never seen Kids.
Hold on, wait,
Wait
what?
a minute.
I thought you watched it with me all those years ago.
Well, I saw parts, and you know the only part that I remember?
I Have No Legs.
I have no legs.
No.
I have no legs.
It was a part where I think.
Gasp.
Oh no, they're just at the pool.
I have not seen this movie, so all these sound bites I feel like I'm gonna look forward to later because I have not seen Kids either.
I have to offer a rare correction because Kids was not directed by Harmony Korine. It was directed by a guy named Larry Clark.
Yeah, Larry Clark.
I don't know why.
Well, Harmony Korine wrote it.
Okay. Well, good enough. Because he has a certain sort of, I guess you'd call it like a cinema verite style, like a very grounded in hyper-realism style from this movie and from what I can tell, how Gummo was filmed. So, interesting filmmaker, to say the least. But I chose this movie because I'd never seen it, and, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I heard it was, one of those movies that was kind of like early 2010s, kind of an it movie to watch, and I watched it, and I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it, which I really want to get into. Who here besides me had not seen it prior to doing it so everybody?
Right.
Wow,
Here.
Haley, you as well?
Also me, I had not seen
That's
anything,
true.
and I hadn't heard anything about the director. I sort of purposely did not watch any interviews or read anything about it first. I just wanted to go in and just experience it just raw basically.
Yeah.
And it was quite an experience to say the
Well,
least.
I'm glad you say that. So, raw thoughts right off the bat. Tell me, like, how did this movie hit you?
So based on like the poster alone, right? The little, the initial image, I thought we were going into like a Neighbors raunchy, comedy like Bridesmaids. I thought we were doing, basically an Adam Sandler type of deal where we're just, spring breakers do funny, goofy, raunchy things. Couldn't be further from that, and I was very surprised. I was like, oh, this is like an art house, like you said, hyper surreal. This is a very different feel. I almost felt drunk while I was watching it because I was like, this is fun and pretty, but also I'm disoriented and I'm not super following a conflict for at least a good chunk of the beginning, but it's really interesting and the vibes are cool. But you know what I mean? It felt like I'd had to take a few shots or something before. So but there were definitely parts of it that were fun, and there were definitely parts of it that I was like, what? Where am I?
Right. The first half is so different from the latter half.
Yes.
It's crazy how quickly the tone and the pacing and everything sort of changes. Because I thought it was just going to be like a silly little, oh, these girls go on spring break and they get into shenanigans, but it ends up being more than that.
It does.
Yeah. So yeah. No. So thank you. Yeah. So and the other thing, I wasn't expecting Vanessa Hudgens. I mean, isn't she not Vanessa Hudgens? Selena Gomez. Isn't she like a former Disney kid? Isn't she like a child star, Disney Channel?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and sort of post watching, apparently this film for both Selena Gomez and Vanessa Hudgens, this was like kind of their first grown up film out of the Disney days.
Right.
And if anything, that's sort of why they leaned into like saying the curse words really hard, like doing, kind of really hard stuff with the guns. They were like really trying to separate and show that they could take on more adult projects, which I would say I love that trajectory for their careers. For me, it didn't necessarily land all the time because it is so weird to see Vanessa Hudgens and Selena Gomez say motherfucker with like a really hard R. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So that was just,
You've now entered the Twilight Zone.
Yes, exactly. I was like, where are we?
Yeah.
But apparently for them, that was a big, a moment in both of their careers. So kudos to them for being like, look, I got to do something totally different and serious so that we get out of just the, kind of good girl typecasting that they were in.
Everyone has to escape the house of mouse at some point. Alex, you had something?
Yes.
Well, so also Ashley Benson, one of the blonde girls, the one that didn't have the pink in her hair, she was in Pretty Little Liars, and also kind of like adjacent to like that family, like TV show realm. It was on ABC Family, which eventually became Freeform or whatever.
Which is under the Disney umbrella.
Exactly. And I watched an interview with Korine, and he was saying how that wasn't the intention. Like, he wasn't trying to find a Disney like actress or former Disney actress and like have them act in this like sort of role. They actually contacted him. One of them immediately came down to Florida to audition for the role. So they had to really audition. There was like nobody was like hand-picked or anything like that.
I like that Selena Gomez's character is named Faith, and she's like the grounded Christian good girl character, that they established in the beginning. It seemed a little on the nose, but at the same time, like, I was thinking about it, I was like, it makes sense from a writing perspective. Like, somebody has to be the straight man or straight woman, and they picked her. They called her Faith. She was religious. I think she was talking to her grandma throughout the movie in some parts, right? She was talking to somebody. I'm assuming it was her grandma. And in that way, I was kind of getting like Sean Baker vibes from this movie, and just in terms of like the style of storytelling, like it felt grounded in reality in that sense. Really interesting characters and really interesting casting choices, Gucci Mane notwithstanding. Arnold, what was your sort of initial thoughts on this movie?
You remember back in the day, probably around the late 90s, early 2000s, Girls Gone Wild?
Yeah.
I immediately thought of
unfortunately
those videos and those infomercials. They were infomercials, right?
They were commercials for
commercials to sell them?
videotapes.
They were definitely infomercials because they came on late at night and they paid like for 30 minutes of
paid programming.
Yeah, paid programming.
900 numbers, 1-900. It made me think of that. It made me think of actually when I was in high school, when it was spring break, and it was kind of wild that a lot of my friends, a lot of people in my class, their parents let them go to like Cancun, but then it was pretty much they're like just gonna get trashed, and they went
Right.
there, and I remember thinking like, oh man, like I would love to do that, but you know,
Arnold's like,
I'd
I don't
love to
need no
go.
Cancun to get trashed. I'll get trashed right here, buddy.
Yeah, of course, all the friends who did go, like they had money, like their family had money, and it's funny or weird. The families that have money, they like let the kids do whatever they wanted, and I mean, I get to see a lot of that.
It's interesting growing up in the desert. You're like adjacent to wealth, but you're not wealthy yourself. I mean, I
Yeah.
certainly wasn't. You know what I mean? But like, you know, you're adjacent to it. And it's always interesting to see how other people live. Alex, you had something?
Yeah.
Well, I had a question for Arnold. Did you notice a particular pro wrestler?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, Double
Who
D.
was that, who was that character?
Jeff
Which
Jarrett.
character was he?
He was the
He
preacher.
was the
Was he literally a preacher, or was he playing?
He was playing
a
a
guy called the
preacher.
Preacher?
But like
Oh,
in pro
the
wrestling,
beginning.
he was like a cowboy-ish kind of like B-star type.
So it's like this guy and the Safdie brothers. They love doing stunt casting. You know, Gucci Mane, that guy. Like it's so interesting. Justin, I wanted to ask you specifically, since you're sort of our video game resident of the show. Did you notice any like? Did you notice how like the GTA 6 trailer seems to be borrowing from this era, from this style, and Florida and all that?
GTA 6 has been in production for so long. I think it was in production before this movie was even coming out.
Yeah.
There's definitely some similarities in a way, but I don't know. At the same time, it's kind of its own thing too.
Yeah, Chris, what do you think? I mean, just general thoughts right off the bat.
Well, whose movie choice was this?
This was mine.
Okay, I have words with you because this was probably the worst movie I've ever seen.
Really?
By a long shot.
Wow.
I was waiting for someone else to say it. I didn't want to be a bad house guest. I agree.
No. That's the beauty of this show. Is it if we just get on here, all of us, and we all agree the same thing on any movie, we're gonna be like any other podcast, right? So,
Yeah,
but no, I'm curious, Chris. So, what didn't you like about this movie? I have to know.
It's a laundry list. I could spend an hour by myself going through it. So prior to tonight, if I didn't like a movie, it's like I rated it low, but like it was still a good movie. It would bump this movie so bad it would bump those ratings up. Because the scale is now off. This movie felt so long because of a lot of different. What it all comes down to, in my opinion, is the writing and the directing. Ruined this movie,
Wow.
through and through. Everything from like, I mean, you even touched on it, like calling the main girl Faith, and she's the one who like this is like high schooler level of writing. It's literally a bunch of high schoolers were like, you know, it'd be really cool if we filmed a movie where we just gotta like drink, do drugs, and like film a Florida movie. I felt like it was a really shallow movie, and I think it thought it was smarter than it was.
Wow.
Sorry.
well after recently
tough to
watching
watch.
Lawmageddon. After watching
yeah,
that,
yeah.
this is great.
Yeah. Well, when you compare it to Llamageddon, yeah, it's kind of an unfair comparison. No, I appreciate that, Chris. You know, I don't know. I think it's gonna hit everybody differently. But Kaylee, I'm curious, and you can be honest. So, what didn't work for you? Let's get into that.
Yes, okay. If we're being honest, I watched this movie with my fiance because he'd never seen it either. And so we both sat down on the couch and he had almost the exact same reactions that so I mean, first off, there's not actually a concrete problem until 47 minutes in. That's when we actually have a concrete conflict that something needs to be solved of some kind. The whole thing felt like a horny fever dream that he kind of woke up and then actually wanted to direct a music video, but instead directed this movie. And I don't think he's ever heard college girls talk even a single time, because as someone who also has an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree and had plenty of college girlfriends, that's not how we talk. Like, I think my first notes, even just 5 minutes to the movie, were boobs, 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 boobs. I want penis, question mark. This was definitely written by a dude.
Oh no,
He was
most
Because-
so
definitely.
crazy.
Because
like,
no one talks like that.
you like penis? I love penis.
I
And
just
was like,
can't
this is
wait to get me some dick. Like, that's not how college girls talk. And also, I mean, yeah, some college girls play video games, but just that was honestly one of my big critiques throughout the whole thing was the dialogue. I was like, I feel like none of you are talking how humans talk. Like this, and the pacing was very strange. 30 minutes in, I was like, how much more of this is? And then
Right.
when we get to the point where Faith leaves, I was like, oh, that's the resolution. She's the main character. And, halfway through the movie, she dips and gets out of the problem. And then I was like, wait, she was the main character. She solved the problem. She left. How is there more? And the more was James Franco saying, look at my shit, look at my shit, look at my shit over and over and over again. And I was like, what? And then the part where he starts filleting the guns.
Oh,
That's where I was like, where am I?
I forgot about that.
Where am I? What has happened? What in the weird? Who signed off on this? Clearly, I need to make more films because someone paid for this. Clearly, I can do. If anything, that's the most positive thing I could say about this movie is that it spurned my own creative energy because I know that I could do something better than that and probably have it get financed.
It's a
'Cause that was
confidence booster,
horrendous.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a confidence booster. That's the best thing I can say about this film.
All fair points. All fair points, honestly. I am curious because I don't know how much going on a Florida vacation cost back in 2012, but like they robbed to give context, they want to go to Florida. They rob a restaurant at Watergun Point and like Hammer Point, if that makes sense. And how much cash did they get away with from some regular little Joe Schmo diner that they were able to afford an
The
entire
first one was
weekend
like
trip?
$300 or $400.
Well,
mean,
they
I
said
know-
that they needed like 1,600 total, right? Something like
I
that.
think that's what they said.
They're
Yeah.
like, oh, we need like $1,600, and then
was
I'm
that a
assuming
lot in
that was
2012? I don't remember.
I mean, it was a
gonna
lot to
say-
me in 2012.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, that would be a
it's
lot
money.
for one person. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know if $1,600 would pay for a vacation for 4 people.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're thinking about
the money
the
was so
idea that
off too.
this is
Yeah.
they're taking a bus ride. I don't know.
Right.
They're bus rides are much cheaper.
They
than
rented scooters. They had a hotel.
They-
Yeah, I mean,
I
they-
guess all the drinks would have been free. Like if they go to a
But, like,
party,
the
like
whole
who's
car
not going to
thing-
give free drinks to 4 cute girls?
renting
What's that, Chris?
Vespas is not
Yeah, it's
cheap
not cheap.
either.
No.
unless
at one
they
point,
unless they
one
like
of the
use
girls
their
goes,
looks.
my car's in the shop right now. And I was like, what? Where'd you get this magic money? And why didn't
Yeah.
you like put this? All of it was just so off.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
so
and
yeah.
not a single girl, it's not a single woman I know in my life, college age or sooner, if you got into jail, you got into trouble, and someone who looks like the James Franco character was like, I'll bail you out, come with me. Not a single woman I know would have looked at that person and been like, sure. Not a single
And
one.
Let's
You know-
rewind that too. They're in the courthouse. You're telling me they're not going to give them clothes? They're going to keep them in like bikinis in the courthouse?
Swimsuits the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we doing here?
I thought
Yeah.
Florida, that's just the
Well,
dress in Florida.
I think
Yeah.
that,
Not in
that's,
court.
I don't think that's too
I was expecting the
unreasonable.
judge to be wearing a G-string. Go ahead, Justin.
No, I was just saying I don't think it's too unreasonable to be locked up in jail in a beach town. I mean, I'm assuming during spring break they're locking a lot of people up and don't have a lot of spare suits around,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's besides the point. I
Those
guess.
places give you clothes though. They give you like an extra large
Like a
shirt and
jumpsuit or
shorts. Like they
something.
don't just send you out there naked.
But if you think
Yeah.
about it though, like Justin, you've been out there, and Arnold too. When we've been out in San Diego during San Diego Comic-Con, out in the gas lamp, right? They have like drunk tank trucks where they're just like picking people up. They're just sweeping people up, and so like they're probably just throwing those people in whatever clothes. Whether it's like a regular street clothes or their cosplay, if they're in, like cosplaying as Pikachu.
I want to ask Haley really quick, because you touched on
Yeah.
something really interesting. Nobody in their right mind would take money from a James Franco-looking character in this movie. Let's talk
No.
about James Franco. Let's talk about Alien. What did we think about Alien? I know you didn't like the movie, it seems like, but tell me, Alien, what are your thoughts? Was he the weakest? Because to
I
me,
mean-
he was the most interesting aspect of the movie, but go ahead.
So I thought the design for the character was really, really interesting. To be honest, that's the part where you're like, whoa, this looks totally crazy. Obviously, this is, we're trying to get not a stereotype, but like a really grounded kind of character of how kind of psycho life in Florida can be. I felt like the character was a little bit ruined by the dialogue because he just said overly simplistic lines over and over and over again. And then even like the most interesting part of his character was his friendship with Gucci Mane and sort of that fight that they had, but it doesn't explain where he came from. Like he doesn't seem to have any real friends. Like he doesn't have really any backstory other than Gucci Mane. And his lines were overly simplistic. To be honest, I didn't feel like they wrote him any lines. I felt like they put him in this costume and were like, hey, act like a weird Florida dude. And he was like, I'm on it. And I feel like he just kind of ad-libbed the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I felt like it could have gone so much deeper because honestly, the most interesting moment of tension in the film is the conversation he has with Selena Gomez, where she's saying, I want to go home. I want to go home. And there's this really menacing tension where he's like, of course, you can go whenever you want, but like, I want you to stay. And you can
I
feel
thought that was
that
a great scene.
That was a great
I love
scene.
that moment. Yeah.
That moment of tension was honestly really good, but just, I feel like
that was the
put a
realest
cool-
part of the movie.
Thank you. That part right there. And I was like, that right there is the concrete conflict that every woman I know would connect with, of being like, ooh, I'm in danger. Someone's not, like, I feel the tension. I feel the menacingness.
Yeah.
But I don't.
The feigning
but
of like the nice
yeah,
guy
and
with
this is bad.
ick.
I have a quick
Just
question, and
icky.
I'll go to Alex. But what was the thing
Yeah.
that Alien says? He did say something really on the nose at one point. He was like talking about something, but like the subtext of it was like he was really talking about himself. I don't remember what it was, but it was really on the nose.
It was look at all my shit. I got Scarface on repeat.
What?
Yeah.
There
Yep.
was that.
Yep.
But
Oh,
there
and then
was-
he also added to that, this is the American dream. This is the American
Yeah,
dream.
yeah.
And that part just is like so sad. You're looking at this dude with guns on his wall and cash everywhere, and the girls, they had them act like cats. They're like basically meowing at him, and I was like, I'm sorry. That was a
And-
horny dream that he had, and was like, that would be
Yeah.
cool on screen. Also,
Yeah.
not a single woman I know would like rub cash on her face and meow at a dude like waving guns
Not
around.
Yeah,
very
his-
sanitary to have cash on your face.
his-
I feel.
Not really. Oh, and they even said, I'm sorry, this is a small thing.
Yeah.
I
See-
used to work retail. I've been a cashier. They were all, the money smells so good. And I was like, that's the biggest lie in this film.
You know,
Cash smells terrible.
and that
Everyone
ages
knows
this
that.
movie because you can't rub your face nowadays in Venmo transactions,
No,
unfortunately.
you cannot.
So
no, you
it
cannot.
hits differently now. Alex, you had something?
The whole thing with Selena Gomez and Alien, how that's built to a really good tension, but
Mhm.
like with a lot of the stuff that happened, it had no payoff, right? Like they would build these
Mhm.
like really great moments with like some sort of problem. They could have been like, you could leave at any time, but then it was kind of like a caveat. But there's gonna be something that happens to you. But then there never is. He just lets her go because like he has all this
Mhm.
money. He doesn't care. I'm just throwing it around, whatever. It was just this weird thing in a pseudo sort of feminist way. He was trying to be like, oh, you have autonomy. I just all I did was just pay for you to get out of jail. You have autonomy. You can leave whenever you want. And in a strange way that kind of works, but it doesn't like pay off in any sort of like real storytelling sense. It's
Mhm.
cool that he like just okay, cool. You paid to get him out of jail, and like cool. You're letting her go free whenever she wants. And I get that this is kind of Harmony Korine's thing. You look at kids, it's just this kind of meandering sort of vibing kind of thing with like his storytelling. And the interesting thing about this, I saw an interview with him. The reason why there's a lot of repeating lines and kind of repeating like things that happen is he had kind of imagined it as this sort of like DJ moment, like electronic music where it kind of loops and everything like that, kind of like Arnold's hips are going right now every 30 minutes.
Mhm.
This is part of the show.
it's-
Haley,
he's-
so bear with us.
But
It's exercise.
it's his exercise because he ruined his knee, so he has to swivel his
Gotta
hips.
take care of those hips.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't hate Harmony Korine's stuff. This doesn't seem to fit any sort of like, I tried to put myself into like what he was trying to do and like trying to see that. To a degree, I think he accomplished it.
I have a question for you. Does he do music videos? Is that another thing that he does?
I know that this was inspired by Britney Spears' music videos, according to what I was able to find on the internet. So
I
there is something.
think I saw that he did one. If at the very least, I think he at least shot
It
one.
does
video.
have that
Just
aesthetic.
because directing wise, that would make sense to me if that's like because there basically was a music video in the middle where James
Yeah.
Franco is like, he's singing and they're all in pink ski masks and, matching
And it was
pants
a
and
Britney
kind of
Spears
waving guns
song,
around.
right?
Right.
I forget
Well,
which
actually,
song.
no, I think it was an NSYNC song actually, and
Oh,
that
was
was
it
one of
NSYNC?
my. I was like, they absolutely would have been singing Britney, not NSYNC. But that's okay.
Well,
But also,
yeah.
I'm not a prude, right? I enjoy a good sex scene. I have to say, these were the least sexy sex scenes I think I've about ever seen. What was all that nonsense in the pool?
Oh, yeah.
They were just
that's-
vibing out. They were just
they
vibing
were
out.
just vibing out, but like there was no tension, there was no build up. I thought that they were trying to get close to him to like shoot him.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I kind of
Yeah.
thought that was where it was going. That's why they would be so kind of obviously all over him, is because they were trying to like shoot him or take revenge or something, and that, and then it just seemed they were into it.
Yeah.
And then the ending, this is just one part I was like, I'm not going to dig too deep into this, but it was just kind of funny. Two college girls that have never shot a real gun before, who have only done water guns,
Right.
somehow come in and are the best sharpshooters and take out an entire gang in a random weekend when they go to Florida. And somehow this professional gang also are all the worst shots in the world because they're walking so slowly
Yeah.
and taking them out one by one. I
Listen,
was like, that's all right.
they were vibe shooting. They were vibe shooting. There's
They were
vibe
vibe
coding.
shooting.
They were vibe shooting. That's what they were doing.
They were doing a power walk, and
Yeah.
they were all of a sudden
Have you ever,
sharpshooters.
Yeah,
have you ever
yeah,
tried
that-
Sure.
shooting a gun on weed?
Yeah, they were they were covered in plot armor. Chris,
Yes,
you wanted to
plot
say
armor.
something?
I know we're kind of like bashing, but
No, it's okay.
I wanted to bring in Healing Laughter Power did mention that the show that the movie was shot well, and I will give the fact that if there was I don't know who the director of photography was, or if it was just the director. But I will say that visually, if you were to mute it and dim out the, and I'll just say it, like perverted,
Right.
like shots of most of the girls,
Mhm.
it was visually actually really interesting to see, like the compositions, the different use of colors, even like some of the shots being like grainy and like some video effects. Like overall, I felt like from a scene perspective, they did a wonderful job at least making a visually interesting movie. It was just unfortunately ruined by a lot. And then to your point too, Haley, as far as like not being a prude, super okay with a lot of things happening on screen. But this almost felt like underage Girls Gone Wild, and
Kinda, yeah.
and I was like, I don't know if I should be watching. Like my wife and I were watching the movie, and she was like doing her own thing, and she goes, "What are you watching?" Because like she just
Porn.
sees young Selena Gomez and Vanessa Hudgens. I'm like, I don't know, like I don't think we're supposed to be watching.
You would have been less embarrassed to say you were watching porn in
Yeah,
that moment,
exactly.
I think.
Ooh,
Yes,
assignment.
yes, I agree.
Yeah. Justin, you had something?
This is what I assume how cults get started, because Alien gives me like Charlie Manson vibes. Chris, I disagree with you. I don't think this movie was filmed very well at all. Honestly, it felt very like borderline studio, not quite sitcom, like kind of like Office, similar to like Office
documentary
vibes.
style,
Like,
sort of.
like yeah, we're getting a peek behind scenes a little bit, and that's why it kind of feels a lot like the movie 13. It feels a lot like
which
the
we did on
movie-
this show.
which we
right?
did on this show.
Good movie.
Feels a lot like Project X. It takes little pieces from all these different movies that have similar things. I think there was too much going on for me in particular and it's not that I didn't get it. I understood the movie. I understood where they were going with it. As far as like realism goes, that's out the window. There's absolutely no realism to this movie.
Not in the
quite
last 30
frankly,
minutes.
Even the scapegoat
Yeah, no.
saying like, "Oh, this is all a dream," or "This feels like a dream," it's alluding to itself, saying, "Hey, maybe this is just a dream sequence. Maybe, and this is just like out of left field more than anything, but it's like maybe they like overdosed on all that cocaine they were on, and now we're in dream sequence mode.
Yeah.
I don't think it was very well put together. It didn't feel like a really good visual music video either. It just felt like we have so much B-roll footage of the same people partying on the beach that we're just going to slap that shit. Well, we're going to film it from different angles too, and we're just going to slap that shit together in between transitions. It was almost like a shoehorned transition to me.
There was a lot of slapping.
You didn't like that there wasn't a consistent style throughout. You felt like they had like well shot shots, and then spliced in there was just B-roll.
He did direct some music videos, but I think they were more later on after this stuff. Like he did one for I Dress, and he also directed, a documentary for the Black Keys.
Which they had a song, Tighten Up, was in this movie. And I was like, oh, bless my millennial heart. I love that song by the Black Keys. I like the Black Keys in general, not going to lie. But when that song came up, I was like, I remember that song. I still like that song. You know, a lot of directors start out in music videos. I think even David Fincher directed music videos before he got into film.
He did, yeah.
Based on what I was able to find, so Harmony Korine wanted to do a sensory film over narrative film. To him, plot was secondary to feeling. So that might explain why
Well,
the
that was
plot,
evident.
yeah, why it felt a little iffy there. And apparently some of the filming conditions were pretty true to life as well. Like the actors were surrounded by actual nudity, drug use, aggressive extras.
Yeah, so like
apparently.
maybe even
boy.
Gucci Mane was after he got out of jail, he actually spent time, like Harmony Korine like had him spend time at the trap houses.
Really?
Yeah, to like actually kind of get like in that vibe of like who these kinds of people are.
Wouldn't Gucci Mane already know that if he spent time in prison?
I mean,
Like,
what did he get?
I feel
What did
like-
he spend time in prison for? Though depends. Like if it was just like
That's true.
like possession, then
I don't know what Gucci Mane spent time. We'll have to we'll have our interns look into that and report back. Remember, they're like,
mentor.
oh, I used to know this motherfucker since he was a kid, and we used to rob people on the boardwalk or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You taught me everything I know.
It taught me everything.
God.
I like how they kept dropping like flies. Well, first it was Faith, and then it was the other girl. Because what happened? She got shot in the shoulder or something.
In the arm. In the arm.
arm.
Yeah.
And
She's like,
also,
"All right, I'm
and they
out."
didn't take her to a hospital
Yeah.
or anything. They just
No.
dug it out themselves in a dirty bathroom.
Yeah.
And they're all, that's totally fine. You're definitely not going to get sepsis.
Alien has
They're like-
skills on how to like stitch. That's crazy.
Yeah, he went to Florida.
And
U
it
for
wasn't
that.
even like a through bullet. It was they literally picked the bullet out. So like for sure, like it was gonna have to amputate her arm because that was a
Yeah.
Where do
dirty
you draw
bathroom.
the line when it comes to getting shot, Chris? Like, would you, if it was just the skin, if it just skimmed your skin, would you be like, all right, I'll proceed?
If there
If
was
it
a
actually
clean
made-
exit wound, you know what? we'll rock and roll. If it didn't hit an artery,
I draw the line at being shot. I don't want to be shot. I draw the line there. I would rather go home and not be shot. Thanks. I appreciate it.
I
I
worked-
mean, I think you're probably wiser than some of these gals because they seem to hang on
Yeah.
a lot longer than I would have in that situation. And it's funny, I was watching this film with James, that's my fiance, and his comment was like, "How are any of you even the slightest bit attracted to this man? You know what? Never mind. You deserve what happens to you if you're staying in this situation." Like, because you obviously that's a bit harsh, but he was joking.
Yeah.
And when they were putting the girl who got shot on the bus, I was asking myself, why? Bus is right there. The two of you can just hop on.
you're right there.
Two,
Just
three
go.
steps. You're right there.
Oh.
You can,
No, but they
you can
liked
head
it.
out.
It was like their sense of like wanting more. They even said earlier in the movie, they're like, "Oh, I just want to see something different. I want to do something
Oh,
different."
that's true.
And-
That's
and-
fair.
They're like, and I understand that, but it becomes so like unrealistic, like unrealistic expectations. But it also leads me to believe, I'm like, okay, yeah, like I said earlier, this is how cults get started. This is how people
Yeah.
are brought into gangs. And you know what, I also want to point out something, and I'm gonna say it's slightly racist, but I'm like you
I'm
have
listening.
these two
I'm
white you have these
listening.
two white
Yes.
girls, right? And they murder all these black people. That's crazy
Yes.
to me.
That is crazy.
And for them to come out unscathed is, I feel
It's-
like, hella impossible.
Yes. And also Alien, if he's supposed to be kind of the big baddie in this movie, he died immediately without ever firing a shot. He
Yeah.
walked up with them onto
gets-
the thing and just pop, you're done. And
he gets
and they don't
wasted
even
right away.
seem immediately, and they don't
Yeah.
seem to care all that much. They're like, oh, all right, we're gonna go do our thing now. But because once he's done, what possible motivation do they have to go kill the entire it doesn't
They gotta
doesn't
close
make
the
sense.
loop. They gotta close the
I guess
loop.
they
Yeah.
gotta close the
And
loop.
you know, the fucked up thing is that this is Florida. If two white girls in real life shot up a bunch of black people, they'd probably get away with it. Drug dealers or not. Like, that's the reality of the timeline we're living in. Like,
the
Yeah,
way it
which
is in
is
Florida.
so sad.
yeah, Florida, people in Florida don't mess around. I feel like you can get away with a lot more in Florida.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, and I'm not trying to justify like Harmony Korine's like justification for why they go through with what they do, but like, let's be honest, they robbed a diner to get the money, so it's not as far fetched for them to like want to be around that culture.
Right.
It is kind of like
They wanted a taste.
they got the
you
well. I
know?
mean,
Maybe that's a fair point.
I mean, they did
Me-
taste it, and they're like kind of like, oh well, they got away with it. They felt they got away with it, and like, I don't know, it's an addiction, I guess.
And they got away with it again.
yeah, and so they just kept
Yeah.
on.
Do you think they're gonna be the kingpins
Privileged.
now?
Not
Yeah.
that I don't
think
know.
so.
I don't know. Like they how are they gonna get away, continue doing alien stuff?
They're gonna buy the judges. You know, they'll have them in their pocket. They'll be
Yeah,
fine. They'll own them.
alien put him in his will. So
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they can go back to his place and grab all the cash now.
well, they got
so-
to
Yeah.
and they won't have to. They won't
Hey,
have to rub it on
she's
their
got-
faces
she's gotta-
anymore. They can just take it.
they've got to deal with the twins though too. So. Ugh.
Yeah, they're going back to their mothership. Remember,
Oh
we're
man.
sticking with
So
them.
Begonia,
Alien
they're
things.
gonna,
There
they're
you
gonna
Exactly,
go
yeah.
into the little closet and they get called
Yeah.
up.
Where'd all the honeybees go?
Did you guys notice, like, at the beginning when they're in the classroom and they're on all their computers? I thought this was a pretty neat detail, but they're all on their computers and the lights were glowing like different colors. Each computer, each laptop had like their own color glowing at different points in time. But if you notice, like later on in the movie, with some of the shots of them like partying and things like that, they go back to those colors. I haven't really thought about like what the significance of that was, but I felt that was a pretty cool little nod to like the lighting, at least.
I didn't notice that, but I did notice like Florida is very much a character in this movie. And when you think of party town, springtime, spring break Florida, you think like neon lights, you think like that same sort of aesthetic, similar to Vegas in the sense that it's like the party vibe. And I don't know. I thought it was also shot beautifully as well. Inconsistent, maybe. In the beginning, they were like in hallways and dark apartments or dorm rooms, whatever. And like, it was like that green tinted fluorescent lighting. Mm-hmm. And then when they go and party, it's the complete opposite, right? So I thought that was really well done just from a production standpoint. And I'm losing my voice, but that's okay. I think we're about that time. Did we have any more? I don't know. Did you have any more things you wanted to talk about before we start to wrap her up, or how you feeling?
I had just one or two more.
Oh, go ahead.
So one, sort of one negative and one positive, which is just to burst the bubble a little bit. When college gals all hang out with each other, we don't really like hang out with underwear and, crotches out, putting our legs up walls and just sort of aesthetically hanging out in our underwear.
Not
Right.
kiss
Mostly
smoking?
we order carbs and talk about our mothers. Like that's mostly that's more realistically what happens when we hang out. Sorry to burst that one. That's the pillow fight thing doesn't really happen.
I hear you.
But I will say one, to end on a positive, one thing I did really find interesting was when they're having that very positive monologue while the shootout is happening, and she's saying things like, man, I really feel like I found myself here. The people are all so nice and also kind and interesting. That's almost like did they do this in A Clockwork Orange? There was another film where it was like I can't remember, a super violent scene that had really beautiful like instrumental orchestral music over it. And so that contrast I always just find, interesting. When you're not necessarily playing into the forebodingness, you're trying to add some levity, which also feels chilling in its own way.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a positive choice that I think was interesting.
Let me ask you this really quick, Haley. Does this film pass the Bechdel test?
Yes, actually,
It
because
does,
we're
right?
talking about robbing diners, not about dudes.
Yeah, there
So
you go.
that technically, but man, That's gonna
Yeah, you gotta hand
the
it
worst
to.
movie I've ever seen passes the Bechdel test.
Oh
Oh
man,
no.
Chris, you had something?
I did just want to talk about the robbery scene.
Let's talk about it.
Not the reality of it, because obviously they're not trained professionals and couldn't do a clean 90-second job. But again, visually, it was just a really interesting one-shotter of them, like
just a tracking shot.
them getting out
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
like finishing all the way around. Again, visually, I was like, that was an interesting thing. Why couldn't we like keep that up throughout the whole movie? Because you have some really good ideas. Like, just keep it consistent. Because
What would
it
you
was
do,
really
Chris?
cool to see
What
them.
would you do in that situation? You're having a moons over my hammy, and someone puts something up to the back of your head and asks you for your money. What would you do?
I mean,
Would you finish
Also,
eating?
that's a sandwich from Denny's. I wish there was a Denny's around here now. I heard that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Poop your pants.
they're young girls. Like, they literally look 15. So I don't know. I think they have like a mallet, right? Not even like a true like a
Like a
little
hammer and a water pistol.
Hey, give me your money. And they're like, we're gonna use this gun. Get down
Yeah.
on the ground.
They're gonna like, we're going to Florida. Oh wait,
Yeah.
we weren't supposed to say that. Oops.
Yeah.
No, I get that. Arnold, did you have something?
No, just stuff that I'm not gonna repeat. That's on the private chat.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. The private, yeah. Arnold, Haley, this is another part of our lore. Arnold has like a super secret private chat
Ooh.
that only he has access to, and
Well,
that's
also
where all
the
the
subscribers have access to.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't want to.
yeah,
I mean,
super
okay,
secret.
like some of the
Yeah.
things that they're saying, it's just completely wild. Kind of like this movie. Just like
It's
so
the
many
stuff
different
that
things.
you would only find at late at night between Girls Gone Wild commercials, right, Arnold?
Yeah, like one guy says, "Bruh, all the booties were small, but was it me? The booties got bigger at the end." Like, I don't.
They were
Yeah,
eating better. You
What's
know?
that?
They were eating better. Alien was taking care
They
of
had
them
more money.
You could
There you
could
go.
buy
Yeah.
access to his private chat on the black market.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh.
only on the dark web. You gotta go on
It's
the
one
dark
kidney, right? I'm assuming one
Yeah.
kidney.
They benefited from looking at all his shit.
web. Yeah.
They really did. So much shit. I need the shorts. I got blue ones. I got red ones. I got green ones. I got orange ones. And I was like, this is 100% ad libbed.
Why?
Yeah, and they were
Well,
all from
and-
Target.
Honestly, it was. It
Yeah.
was. Harmony Korine, in that same interview, he was saying like how there was like hours of him just like ad libbing, just walk around the room and just be like that. I got ninja stars. Which, by the way, why didn't they use the ninja stars to kill those guys at the end?
Yeah, that would've been a lot cooler.
Yes. And I remember turning to James and saying, this is like a stress dream of like the worst date you could go on, of like sitting on, like someone invites you over to their place and you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting to know you. And they're like, look at how many shorts I have. Look at all the colors I have. And you're like, oh, right.
Yeah,
One
I'm
listen,
fish,
happy
two
for you.
fish, three fish, blue
Guns
fish.
and ninja stars and iron knuckles I can handle, but I draw the line at different colored shorts. I see that. I'm out.
This is gonna be a red
I'm
flag
out.
on my Tinder dates now.
Exactly. If someone just wants to explain their entire wardrobe to you, maybe they're not all that interested in learning about who you are.
You like
Yeah.
this shirt? It comes in 12 other colors.
Ayo. And I'm going to tell you what those colors are, and I'd like you to ooh and ah at each one.
I got
know what,
some
maybe-
nunchucks and
I
they're
got them
gold.
from Walmart.
Yeah.
I got a pair of gold nunchucks and I got a pair of
Yeah.
silver nunchucks. What's up?
I got
I
24
think-
And I have some
suspenders.
nunchucks in my ass right now.
Yeah. He might be on the spectrum though. I feel like he has everything organized like categorically and by color and by what I mean. So that might be the real theme of his character.
The chat's
There you go.
saying, "Here's all my flashlights." The flash.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to have a lot of flashlights in Florida. It gets dark, Arnold's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, pocket flashlights.
Why do all these flashlights have slobber on them, James Franco?
That's going on the socials. All right, guys, good job. I think we did it. So we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. We're going to give our final thoughts, but we're going to frame it a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask one final question. We'll go around the room, and the question is, what would you change about this movie, if anything at all? And Chris, I want to start with you.
All right. I think what would have really helped this movie if you gave Selena Gomez's character Faith a reason to go outside of wanting to see something different, if there was like something like she needed to be there for, that caused her to like get into that situation outside of just like, I'm just bored. And then I wish that she wasn't able to leave, whether it be in some way, shape, or form, like she just didn't have the ability to make it out of there without some additional help, or if she was stuck because she was waiting for something that caused her to unfortunately be there longer. Because again, one of the most interesting parts of that movie was James Franco and Faith's moment together. And so you have the reason it's so good is because the contrast of characters, right? Of like this guy who's like truly the worst of the worst, totally selfish, and then you have Faith who's dealing with her faith and trying to be a good girl and yada yada yada. But there's a reality there, right? The dichotomy that's going on. So it would have been nice if if I have to watch the rest of the movie, so does Faith. She has to be there for the rest of the movie. That's my, if you could change one thing, I want her to the end. I want her there.
What's your final rating and where can people find you?
I would give it a 0.5 star. I don't know if I'll ever give another movie that low of a score. And you can find me at Milkman America everywhere.
You apparently haven't watched Alamageddon.
Yeah, no, Alamageddon is a masterpiece now, though.
Hey, got 0.5 star, not 0 stars.
Haley, I'll go to you next. What would you change about this movie, if anything, and final score, and where can people find you?
Yeah. So the biggest thing I would change about this film would be the script writing, right? Before they started shooting a thing, because you absolutely can get into sort of trauma bonded friendships that can pull you into situations that you might not want to be in, but you don't want to leave because you don't want to leave the other person behind. Like that pull and push of friendship is a very real and powerful thing, and can can lead you to do things you wouldn't do otherwise, because you're like, man, it's just us and we're in this now. And I feel like if you had if the dialogue dove deeper into the relationship between the girls, it would have made a lot more sense, not even diving too hard into reality, because obviously this is a surrealism film, but it would have made more sense for why they're doing what they're doing. And then it also would have made sense if the two girls that stayed, that were kind of, the ones who had these darker tendencies, if they said something like, man, I know I shouldn't, but like, he's so dangerous and there's something sexy about that. And I'm kind of like a cult leader, like Justin was saying, I'm drawn to him and I don't know why. And man, this is a bad idea, but maybe I want to stay here and have some fun. Just some dialogue that just showed, I don't know, that they were people, right, with thoughts and emotions and motivations that would lead them into these situations. I think that would have changed the quality drastically. And my rating, I think Chris and I are on the same team here. We're going to go 0.5 star, maybe 0 stars, really low.
All right. Where can people find you?
Me. Just Haley Stoddard on TikTok. I don't post much, but I'm on there.
Nice. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Like I said, we like to have conflicting opinions on this show. I think it's important to have a good, healthy amount of discourse.
I'm glad, because I was nervous to say it until someone else said it, because it's my first time on the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you. Justin, what would you change about anything, if anything, about this movie?
I wish I could remove myself from watching this movie. That's what I wish. It was such a clusterfuck. I hated it. Honestly, I'm going to be brutal. But I am also going to say, like, the parts, like, you guys are right. The parts that are good are really good. They just don't stick to it. They don't stick to anything. They like to just detract. It's like, this movie is a perfect example of what not to do as a method actor, because James Franco, whatever he was trying to do, ad lib, make shit up as he goes, it was the wrong formula for the entirety of the movie. Now, out of all the characters, I think I really liked Faith a lot. I think she wasn't there enough, but I think I really liked Faith. I just needed more of that. I really liked James Franco's character in some aspects as well. I felt like he was just left kind of vague. He was just he was like this side character that suddenly became a main part of the story. And it leads me to believe that they just used James Franco and Selena Gomez's face just to promote this movie to get it on its feet. I will say this is probably the worst A24 produced film I've probably ever seen, and I watched First Cow. All right, that movie was a pretty hard slog to go through, but at least I enjoyed the
First
story.
Cow?
Look it up. Go look up First Cow. It's literally about like the first cow brought to land or something like that. Anyway, it's a great movie. You should check it out. But I think when they were introducing these like really cool concepts and they took it away from me, it almost felt like they didn't want me to see beyond that veil. Like they didn't want me to dive in any deeper. They're like, these folks are just on spring break who are just getting caught up in some bad shit on their spring break, and we're leaving the storyline linear. Now, where they tried to go and be different was have these two girls, go on these crime sprees with Alien at the end of the movie and murdering people, which is kind of a strange turn for it to take. It just leaves no real substance for me to be someone that would go back to watching it and be like, oh, I'm going to come back and watch it because maybe I missed certain things. I don't want to go back and watch it. I really don't. I don't want to go check out the colorways of what they did with some of the scenes. I don't care. This movie made me not give a shit about anything that had going on for it. So I'm respectively going to give it a 1 star.
Oh.
It is not the worst thing I've ever seen. Trust me, I cannot wait till we cover the worst movie I've ever seen on this show. You know what? Y'all stick around to find out later when we actually do it. But we'll get into that later.
It's not Airbud 2, is it? Because I will quit this show. It's
Absolutely
Airbud 2.
No, we love Airbud. We love animal movies.
We love Airbud.
We love Milo and Otis. I'm just kidding. Anyway,
Aw.
yeah, so you can find me GhostNerd88 on Instagram. You can find my personal profile, Shibs the Zombie, as well. My Letterboxd rating is going to be a 1 star out of 5. Go find me on Letterboxd, GhostNerd88. And if you just go into the links, you'll find me on all the things. So don't be a stranger. Go say hi.
Thank you, Justin, for that honest review. Alex, let's go to you next. What would you change about this movie, if anything, and what's your score and socials?
I would change that there was no conflict between the girls. I
Good
would
one.
have created more
That's a good one.
conflict between the girls, and that would have helped carry a better story, I believe. They all seem to be all like band of merry like robbers, if you will, that like we're all in it together and like we're empathetic. It's like, oh, you're gonna go, okay, sorry, Faith, okay, bye. And it didn't really like, there was like no resentment that she left or anything like that. This kind of like, what the hell is like, why aren't they like just a little bit more upset that their friend left? Like what Chris said, like if there was reason for them to stay, that would have been it. Like create that conflict. If they force Faith to stay and then there would have been resentment, it would have been like a cool like narrative. That being said, like I did, like I said, I watched an interview, like a little panel with Harmony Korine, and they were discussing Spring Breakers, and like he was talking about as I mentioned before, how he envisioned this film being more ethereal rather than like narrative. And he also kind of imagined it being like an electronic music song where it's like loops and like references back and like sampling and stuff like that. And so after watching that interview, I gave him a little bit more leeway. Being a music person myself, I was like, okay, I get what he's trying to accomplish. Did he accomplish what he did? I think what he was envisioning for himself, yeah, he did. Is it something that like mass audiences will enjoy? No. It's just kind of like his fan base will enjoy it. Like people who probably love Gummo, people who really enjoyed Kids. He's very sporadic with his filmmaking, and so it kind of shows in a sense that like he hasn't really grown past doing stuff that he did in Kids. The whole idea of like creating this discomfort in your films, right? Like this film felt more like creating discomfort for discomfort's sake. Like it didn't really like have anything for add anything to the story. Now, like going back to like the whole like his like this vibey style. Okay, I give him credit for doing that, and I'm trying to like think of it in terms of like say a fan of Harmony Korine would do it, and stepping into those shoes, but yet still like applying myself into it. I gave it like a 2.5. You can find me on Daily Dares at all the socials.
Something that pissed me off the most about this movie as well is whenever James Franco or Alien's character was like, spring break, spring break. You know, every now and again, spring break. Spring break forever, forever spring break. I hated that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking of uncomfortable, that's what made me uncomfortable.
Yes.
Which is
That gave you the ick?
it was the audible worms in my head when these things were being like repeated, and it's like it doesn't make me uncomfortable, and in the sense that like, oh, you know, I understand the direction of this movie and I'm uncomfortable because this is what was intended. No, I just felt uncomfortable because I was more annoyed than anything. As far as like STEM movies go, I already work in a very like stimulating workplace, so trying like watching a movie of it really kind of like brings me back to Omega Mart.
Meow Wolf. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Justin. Arnold, I think it's that time of the show, my friend. I think you know what time we're talking about, right? We're talking about the Arnold Snooze-o-meter. And this is a recurring weekly segment we do with Haley, and we have graphics
Amazing.
for it and everything. The production value, we don't spare no expense on the show. Arnold, tell us, Snooze-o-meter.
So
What do we think?
after talking about this, I do realize how horrible of a movie this is. Haley, I'm the one on this show who knows very little about film, and from the what did you guys say, the color schemes or the way that things were shot,
Yeah, cinematography.
the cinematography.
You could
Write that down.
use keywords, Arnold. That's fine.
Yeah,
Jot that down.
I love the cinematography. It was it had great nuances, sweet, kind of sweet. I love the cinnamonness from it.
We'll get you some
no.
cue cards to like go through. Like, oh, this is the word I want to use. So.
Are they cute cards because they're small, or
This
Yeah.
made me feel sad.
Where
Okay,
are you on the
so-
emotion
so-
wheel?
but as not the greatest movie, and it wasn't like hard for me to watch. I mean, I just it wasn't like great. So okay, one thing, I think I'm not sure if it was the same night. I was like, oh, Rumble in the Bronx is on, and for some reason in my mind, I watched that movie also. And as I was trying to like think about this movie, and as we're coming up to the time that we're going to record this podcast, a lot of the parts in Rumble in the Bronx and in Spring Breakers, they kind of like fused together. I was like, oh, what
Interesting.
about that part? Oh wait, no, that was in Rumble in the Bronx. Like, ooh, I should not have watched those two movies back to back. But
At least it wasn't My Little Pony.
yeah, I would only watch it after a scary movie. I don't get scared. But
Right,
anyways,
right.
what was I gonna say? Oh, but I would have to give it my Z rating. Now, Haley, Z rating is. What, did I fall asleep? Did I get sleepy? I give it a 0 Z rating.
Wow.
So you stayed awake for the whole thing.
Yes, and I
Ah.
think what did I have? Oh, yeah, I watched
good,
this
Arnold.
movie after I came back from San Diego. But on the way back from San Diego, I stopped midway in Temecula, and I got I stopped at Burger Lounge. All right, I stopped at Burger Lounge, and I got a truffle burger. But then I asked them, I was like, "Can I make it a double patty?" So they made it a double patty truffle burger, and then I didn't want to. I love their fries. They're tallow fried fries. But
Sounds delicious.
I had one more hour drive left home, and they're just gonna get soggy. I'm probably gonna put it in the air fryer, but I had it in mind. I was like, oh, I'll get fries when I get back in town, and I didn't just get fries. I got deluxe chili cheese fries from Del Taco. So I don't know. It doesn't quite really sound like it would go well together. The deluxe chili cheese fries and the truffle burger from Burger Lounge. But man, I had that, and then immediately went into watching the movie. No sleepies. Oh, me no food coma.
Oh,
That is such a perfect analogy for this movie, though, as far as like having this really good fry. And it's like at one point, this was really good. And it got soggy and cold. And then we're like, well, we're just going to make it a full meal with these chili cheese fries from a taco place. That's this movie in a nutshell.
wow.
I think James Franco was the chili cheese fries.
Yeah.
I think he was the spice.
He represents the chili and the chili cheese fries. Yeah.
Gucci,
Yeah.
Gucci
It was the pinch of diced white onion that's sporadically placed everywhere and not
Yeah.
consistent at all.
I love it.
Gucci Mane.
Diced
Gucci Mane was
pasta.
a truffle on the truffle burger.
It really was.
Mm.
All right, Arnold, where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere, Arnie Kalego. Do you want me to couple things that I thought they would change about the movie?
Why not? I mean, we're all, yeah.
Bring back Double J Jeff Jarrett back in, loop him back in.
Yeah.
Could they? I didn't know that. I thought they would bring Selena back in, Selena Gomez back in, or Faith.
I thought so too. I was like, is she just gone? She's just gone.
Tie them
could've
back,
been in
tie
the
them back
bathtub
in,
with
like
Gucci Mane
she
at the
could've-
end there.
you know,
She could have
usually
brought,
some movies.
She did.
she could have brought back Double J and like they could have got back there guns a blazing to like
all of
extract
could have
them.
been,
We gotta extract
Yeah.
the other
People-
girls.
Yeah, I thought for sure if they had the Double J Jeff Jarrett in it, that he'd come sometime in the movie. He would show up in the movie again, like, but with like the his guitar, like in wrestling, and then hit somebody over the head with it.
That's what I'm
He
saying.
could have been in that final scene, you know. Could have been like a rescue scene. Have a little bit more depth with the characters. Maybe the girls not have so much luck and not getting caught so many times. Well, they did get arrested, but for like partying. And the chat is saying there was a lot of not realistic stuff. But those lines that they were snorting for a college girl was kind of real. They were kind of
Yeah.
small lines. But
And they had a high body count, only because of the amount of people they killed, right, Arnold?
right.
Those party scenes were like a few levels just below Requiem for the Dream, the end sequence.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the ones in VHS. that I just...
Just here's a thought. What if you recast the entire movie with Muppets?
Oh.
Like, would that make it better?
And only one person is a human, right? Yeah,
And only
I like
one,
that.
and I think the one person that is human has to be James Franco's alien because he's already basically a Muppet.
I was
in
going to
that
say
character.
Gucci Mane.
Oh, Gucci Mane. Maybe 2 humans, and then the rest of them are just Muppets. Would that have helped? Maybe.
I actually would love to see a Muppets version of all my favorite
One thing
movies.
too.
Yeah.
There you go.
Spring break with the
Arnold, did you
grill.
give us your
Up
socials?
close on the grill.
Bang.
Arnie Kalego everywhere. I'm on TikTok. Not OnlyFans. Arnie Kalego, Letterboxd. That's not where the people are subscribing. But
Not
yeah,
yet.
Arnie Kalego everywhere.
Not yet, anyways.
That's me. Last but not least, we've
Yeah.
got you, Adrian, Mr.
Well-
BOOTZ Too Big.
Thank you, Arnold. I'm the odd man out because I actually enjoyed this movie a lot.
Oh,
and
Wait,
I will
didn't
read
give
to
an
you.
actual score.
Oh, what was
I
your
give
actual?
only my Z rating. I give this
Well-
a 2. A 2.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a Letterboxd 2. Arnie Kalego
Letterboxd
Letterboxd.
No, yeah, I'll just read what I wrote for Letterboxd. I said, what a wild movie. I was not expecting this to be good, but Harmony Korine fully commits to the unhinged fever dream chaos and never lets up. The entire cast understands the assignment, especially James Franco, who turns Alien into a bizarre, magnetic, and oddly hilarious character that somehow anchors the madness instead of dreaming it. It's loud, messy, over the top, and completely unrealistic. That's also what makes it so hypnotic. Korine isn't trying to tell a grounded story. He's building a vibe. And once you're locked into it, like the kids say, the movie becomes strangely immersive. What I found particularly interesting is Selena Gomez's character, Faith, who acts as the film's moral center, an emotional entry point. She's the good girl who goes to church, carries a quieter demeanor, and initially feels out of place among the recklessness of her friends. But underneath that innocence is curiosity. She wants to explore herself, test boundaries, and experience something bigger than the life she's known. Spring break in Florida becomes a perfect environment for that transformation. Sun-drenched beaches, neon nights, and a sense that consequences don't exist. It's the ideal setting for someone caught between who they are and who they might become, and Gomez plays that internal conflict really well. My biggest weakness with the film is that the girls rarely suffer meaningful consequences for their actions. They commit crimes, spiral deeper into dangerous territory, and yet the narrative often floats past the fallout. Under normal circumstances, that would be a major flaw, but here it oddly works. As the movie gets more surreal and chaotic, realism becomes less important. The lack of consequences starts to feel intentional, like we're watching a distorted fantasy version of rebellion rather than reality. It's raw, excessive, and unapologetically chaotic. But that's exactly why it works for me. It feels like we got GTA 6 before GTA 6, and somehow it's even stranger than that. All right, so before I completely lose my voice, you can find me on Letterboxd and Boots Too Big. And before I wrap up the show,
what was your
I want
score
to.
again?
It was 4 stars out of 5, my friends. I will say it right now. You know, I will stand on that.
You
it was
party.
a 4-star.
I will say,
party
I will
animal.
say, I didn't hate the movie like as much as everybody else hated it. I actually kind of enjoyed it. Like,
Yeah, it was a fun
Do you
watch.
want to change your score too?
No,
Do you want to go up a little?
I'm at 2.5 still. But I just
I feel like I got to go 10 toes down. I want to give it negative stars.
I just think that like he's Harmony Korine is definitely like one of those directors that like it's he has his fan base. I mean, I like Kids. I gave that a 4, and so
Careful.
Yeah.
no, I love that movie. That was
The Kids, the movie.
It's a joke.
What's that?
Yeah. Because you said you like kids.
Oh yeah. Well,
You said careful.
Oh.
Because, you know,
Kids movies.
Kids the
Yeah.
movie.
Kids, the movie.
Yeah.
I
There you
agree
go.
with you, Alex. I it's not that I didn't hate the movie, but I also didn't like love it.
Yeah.
So
It was just like it was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I
To each their
I
own.
I get what Harmony Korine tries to do.
Well, before I completely end the show here, so I want to reintroduce a segment. This will be quick. I have a longer one, but I'll save that for another time. Comments of love. We always love comments of love on this show, as you guys know.
Oh,
I'm going to
boy.
read you a short one. This is a short one, I promise. This is on our Eyes Wide Shut Reddit post. This person, Reddit user, and I will say his name because I think it's fair. It's a public forum. Pussy ABC. I don't know. 6
That guy's
geeks with
fake.
Too much time on the
That guy's fake.
six.
Why are
Of
you
course
calling
he
out my
liked the
Reddit
movie.
name?
This is about Eyes Wide Shut. 6 geeks with too much time on their hands, feeling really important, offering bullshit opinions of which they know very little about. So, you know what, Pussy ABC? I hope your dog shits in your shoe. That's all I have.
Oh,
to
and
say.
the guy who says something about us in gaming chairs. Hey, buddy, I'm sitting in a folding chair. Sucks to be you to be
I'm
wrong.
sorry you can't afford this $400 CyberPower PC chair that's super comfortable on my butt.
Yeah, I paid $50 for this, but still, what Justin said. So
I'm
there
gonna take this folding chair and smash it over your head like a wrestler.
Yeah, we love our comments of love on this show. So, and there's a longer one that's a bit of a doozy, but I'm gonna save that one for another time. So. But yeah, I just want to say really quick, thank you again, Haley, for being on with us. It was really great having you on, hearing your opinions on this movie.
Thank you.
yes,
Hope to possibly have you
I
on
hope
again
I
in the
get
future.
invited back, even though I hated it.
Yeah. It's all good.
Thank you
It's all
very
good.
much for having me. I had a fantastic time chatting with you guys. This was so much fun.
Thank you so much. And
Thanks for
yeah,
being
so for sure.
Spring break forever, bitches.
Spring
Oh,
break.
Right.
Spring
Spring
break.
break.
Spring
Look at my
break.
shit. Look at my shit.
All that at the
Shit.
end. I still got to do our outro, which is follow us, the Never Seen It Podcast, on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook, X. Visit our website, neverseenitpodcast.com. Email us, podcast.neverseenit@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. If you like the show, share it, leave us a review, leave us a comment. As you see, we will read your comments on the air. Big thanks to Mr. Kyle Mapson of Burncycle for the intro and outro music. You can follow Kyle on Instagram at selfies_food_and_pets. Thanks to Mr. HLP for the Arnold Snooze and Meter music. Thanks for listening. Any final thoughts this time?
Spring break.
Spring break.
Spring break.
Spring break.
Spring break.
You know what's happening?